1.5 years since I last made a Tuesday video. Sup? Oh. It's finally time to go through stuff. I mean, it's only been a mere 1.5 years since the last Tuesday, so it's been too long. But yeah, I have a list of things I want to say on this video because there's honestly too much to say, because obviously since the last one was over 1 year ago, there's been a lot that's happened since, including her, my new cat. I obviously still have the other cat too, but she's living with my mom because these two can't get to deal with each other, and I'm keeping her away now because my desk is kind of full at the moment. Seriously. So first off, we have Brett's package. Goes by the name Dragoon Claw NZ on the wonderful world of internet, and he's my Twitch mod and pal. So we're gonna do the package first, obviously. So I've covered the address, obviously. So here's the package, and there you can see, oh, the New Zealand Post. You know, the contents, you can see there's hold on, let me just manually zoom. So there you can see candy and video cable. And what that means is that Brett's constantly, not necessarily complain, but encourage me to use S-Video because that's better than the composite I'm using for PS1 capture. Because Elgato only has the composite and S-Video, but I haven't had an S-Video cable. Oh boy. And yeah, the package is quite heavy. So obviously it wouldn't be this heavy for just the cable, so it's full of candy. First off, we have this kind of chocolate, creamy milk. So I'm assuming this is quite the same as a Fatzer's Blue in Finland. Looks very similar too. But I'm gonna eat that later because now I just ate before I made this video. I'm not really hungry at all, even for a dessert. And here we have the free MacBoot memory card. Oh yeah, that's the, yeah, it's not only cables and candy, because Brett also wanted to send me, or rather I begged him to, on my knees, to send me memory card that already has free MacBoot modded to it, because, well, I can show you the thing I have myself. Official PS2 hard disk. And where do I need this? Well, to play, you can see, I think I had the text upside down there. Yeah, HDD. So, what do I need this for is that I want to play a few games from the hard disk to reduce loading time. I mean, Brett's already done a speedrun on GT4 with the hard disk because it's way faster than reading the game through a CD. So there's that. And Brett's also ran GT3 and it's pretty fast. With the HDD, the loading times are like instant, like loading screen, done. And here's the precious S-video cable. I'm not going to promise that I will use this for speedrunning at least, or stuff like that, but I might use this for PS1 recordings. And I wonder if this allows me to record in 50 FPS, because apparently, I mean, OBS doesn't allow me to record in 50 FPS, so when I'm doing like GT4 or GT3, it's pretty annoying that you only have 30 FPS, so it's kind of a shame for the watchers. And then we have two like bars of something. I have no clue what this is. Let's have a look. Oh, it's a sugar cane. Like a very sweet sort of thing. I might eat one of them, but we'll see. I just ate, so might not happen. Then we have pink smokers, Tic Tac kind of candy, a little bigger than that. So I'm assuming these are pretty sweet. I might actually snack on these while doing this video. And then we have wine gums. Actually, did I even show you this? Yeah, I did. Pink smokers. And then this. And we still have more. Brett's really buffed this package with candy. These are chocolate things with banana. Ugh, I'm kind of afraid to try this because, in my opinion, you shouldn't mix anything with chocolate. It should just be pure chocolate, nothing else into it. But yeah. So yeah. And we still have more. We have another one of these. Just in case I like them. So I wouldn't run out so fast, and then I would be like, Brett, can you send me more? Even if it takes like a few weeks. Oh yeah, and the package already arrived a month ago. I'm not sure, but a while ago anyway. But you know, I had to prepare to do this video, so I only opened the package now because I wanted to include it in this Tuesday video. But yeah, that's a lot of candy. I might as well put them away somewhere so I have more room on the desk. Oh, and I didn't even open the memory card, but it just says free MacBoot on it, and it's just a third-party card most likely. And I'm kind of excited. I mean, I'm not gonna play HDD games from HDD that soon. I'll have a look at it later, but I'm kind of excited to try GT4 on HDD because then I can play NTSC. And why I'm excited for it is because of the mission 34, the last mission in the game. And I do apologize for my creaking chair. And why am I excited? It's because on PAL, you know, it's a mission where you wait on the grid and just let the other AI cars take off before you, and then you have to catch up and try to win the race. And apparently the NTSC version is really hard. I mean, the PAL one is mediocre. Like, if you are not good with racing games, you're not gonna win. But if you are, then it's a piece of cake. Even if you stay on the road, it's a lap around the Nordschleife, so yeah. On NTSC you have to wait for longer, so that makes the challenge ultimately harder. So that's why I'm interested to try that out, because the PAL one was disappointing in my opinion. So yeah, that's all for Brett's package. Thank you for sending me it. Much appreciated. I'm definitely gonna have a use for the memory card. Maybe the cable. And then I'll see how long it takes for me to eat all of that candy. You know, the package was so heavy, so it was like 80% candy, and then the rest was the cable and the memory card. But yeah, thanks Brett. I'll be sure to send you something sometime. I don't know what it is and when, but we can think of something that you might want to have. And next, we're gonna go over some of my recent purchases. Firstly, the fuck was it? Sorry. Horus's Eye. You know, this symbol. I saw a, well, I'm gonna show you a picture here actually. I bought it from an Egyptian seller. There was this grand market that was international in the city where I now study. And there were plenty of, what are they called? Like stands, you know, shops. They were mostly like warm food and confectionery. Which brings me to Fudge Factory. I thought it's been 1 year since my last purchases. This is full of fudges. But it's been 2 years. So I skipped one of those fair markets last year. But yeah. I really wanted to buy this because this looks really cool. I have no idea where I'm gonna put it yet. But I'm definitely gonna hang it up somewhere. I mean, look at it. It's pretty cool. And it would have cost me 55 euros, but we made a deal that if I get that, as well as this little sarcophagus in English. So I got it for 40 euros. Yeah, 40 euros, that and this. So I got a little discount. And this is really cool because you might think, it's just a sarcophagus, there's nothing to it. But you can actually open it and there's the wrong half. Sorry. You can actually see a corpse inside. Ooh, spooky. And the halves are magnetic, so just snap it in place and there you go. So I really want to get something. And you know, the picture you just looked at, that's the whole thing that he was selling. Well, most of it, like the actual table. And in this picture you can see what I got. So I got the Horus Eye little sculpture and then the small little sarcophagus. So I wanted to show those to you guys. I really wanted to get them, and I think it's my inner exhumed gamer kicking in for Egyptian stuff. I don't have anything yet. And what next? Well, yeah, more of my recent purchases. My most recent, however, a factory sealed Mega Man X8, and normally this would go for, I don't know, nearly 100 euro, but look at the price tag. It's only a mere 25 euros. Pretty sure you can see that. At least for, there you go. Thanks, camera. So only for a mere 25 euros, even though this goes for a lot more. So I couldn't pass this opportunity up, even if it's a UK copy, because there's no Finnish, no Swedish, nothing here. And we have a British flag, so it's probably a UK copy, but I couldn't pass this opportunity up. Even if I won't break the seal and play this game, I can sell it on for a bigger price. So yeah, I got lucky there. And then another Mega Man X. This wasn't sealed. This was just the in the shop where I buy games from now and then. And I kind of wanted to get this because this is in great condition. The even though, you know, PS2 covers for games cases are just soft plastic, and they will wear over time. This one doesn't have any marks on it whatsoever. It's shiny and stuff, and the disc is in great condition, not used at all, like scratchless and manual. So this is a good package overall. So yet another Mega Man game to my collection. The only other one I have is the Mega Man X5, which I got for half the actual price. It's like 100 euros or more, but I got it for like 50. But the only con is that the manual is the last page, or the rear cover is snapped off, ripped off. But other than that, it's in good condition, and the disc has only a few scratches on it. And more of my recent ones, this is kind of a meme, because I was curious, what's a mediocre game gonna be like? Monster Truck Arenas Special Edition. I don't know what makes it even Special Edition, because I think this is the only version of the game, so they just wanted to make it sound cool. But yeah, I'm not expecting a lot from this. It's just a mediocre game, but as I said, it's more of a meme. So I really want to see how it is. Also, I like how there's off the road in an inferno of twisted metal. Twisted Metal the game? No, but this is Monster Trucks. So this was a meme, and I got that along with geez, what's the other game I got? Well, I got Ratchet & Clank 2 because that was in decent condition. I've already had several copies of the game, but they were always scratched. So that one is in good condition. So I wanted to get that along with this, and then I got something more, but I just can't seem to remember what I got. I got a third game for sure. Maybe it's in the shelf somewhere. Jeez. Oh yeah. It was the Destruction Derby. No, oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I got it at the same time as the Monster Trucks Arenas and Ratchet & Clank 2. A platinum copy of Destruction Derby 2. I already have it as a black label in good condition, by the way. I paid like 35 euros for it, or 40 even. It was an auction, but the condition is so good that I couldn't pass it up. It's not likely that I'll run into one of those again. So I got the platinum copy because Joseph733 was having issues with his copy, but it's not actually his copy that's to blame, or the platinum copy version of it, because that's why I got it. I wanted to test if I get the same loading lag issue, but it's Joseph's PS2 because it's a piece of shit. Sorry, Joseph, but you need to get a new console or fix that one. So I got that, but now I'm just gonna sell it because I tested it out. And yeah, I'm gonna sell that right away, and don't know what I'm gonna do with this. Obviously I'm gonna test it, but I'm not expecting a whole lot from it. It's such a mediocre and what's the word, like vague game. Like, it's not very well known. One of those cheap budget games, kind of like this. I found this from a flea market for like 5 euros only, and this disc is in great condition. No scratches at all, or just a very few. And this is probably another UK copy, but I don't mind. So I just got this out of interest because this might actually be a decent game. And we don't know about this yet, but if this is not a good game, I was thinking maybe I should speedrun it whilst I played the game and know how it functions and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, and I might as well look at my notepad, all the other games I got. So long time ago I bought GD2, but there was an issue with the buying because there was this listing on the site that GTA 2 includes map and everything, good condition, and even the picture, like the preview picture showed the GTA 1 style cover, like the exact same, but GTA 2. But at first I got that without the map, and then I contacted them and made a complaint, and then I got the correct copy which had the map, but it had the different GTA 2 cover, like the regular one, not the one that was released afterwards that looks exactly like GTA 1. So I sold that away and just looked for a new copy of GTA 2 later, and I got it. But yeah, that was silly. I pretty much got the wrong copy of the game twice. And then I also found Ape Escape from flea market. And from the same flea market, I'll get to those in a second. I got from the same flea market rally trophy. But yeah, the Ape Escape one is also in great condition. The disc is like mint, but unfortunately it lacks a manual, so it wasn't a zip. But I still had to get it because the disc, it's what counts really. And then I also got a rally trophy, like I said, for only 50 cents. That's very cheap. I mean, of course, it's like a very general racing game, like sports and motorsports games are very general, and they are usually cheap and rather common. But that one's a little bit more vague and, you know, obscure. That's the word I was actually looking for, not vague, but obscure. But it's a decent game. I tested it out some while ago and I was blown away by the physics. Like, I've only seen my friend play this game and he didn't have a proper setup. He had a wheel, but it was very bad. But I tested it out with my Logitech G27. I was blown away. Like, the physics were really good. I forgot how old the game is but relative physics are really good. The only problem with that game is that it lacks content. Like, the first location, like Russia, there's like, I don't know, 6 stages, and then there's another location, 6 stages or something, and then the rest of the locations are just 2 stages. Like, seriously, 2 locations, or even just 1 location with 6, and then others with just 2 stages. Like, are you serious right now? And well, the game has a decent selection of cars, but yeah, could have had a little more, and especially more stages in odd locations. But the game itself feels really good, the physics. And yeah, for 50 cents, and the condition is like mint, so couldn't help but grab that, especially as it's only 50 cents. I barely lost anything. It's like half free. And then I got a new copy of Collie McRae Rally 2.0, and to replace my old one, in hopes for getting a better condition disc. And the weird thing with the seller was that we were like, you know, negotiating the price and everything, but he just said that I'll mail it to you and you can pay it after. And after it arrived, I contacted the seller and was like, hey, that arrived, so how much do I pay for it? And he didn't reply, and I even replied again, you know, just to be a fair person, that I'm guessing that you don't want to get paid, and he still didn't reply, so I guess he just wanted to get rid of the game. But yeah, I effectively got CMR 2 for free, because apparently he wasn't a fan of money. Go figure. And then I've got a Medieval 2, but I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. I just got, you know, because I only had the first Medieval, now I have Medieval 2 as well, so I have both. And she's in need of attention, but I'm afraid that you cannot get here yet. Oh, I can move also my mic now to the center. Now that my desk is a little bit more clean and empty. And then from the same shop I bought the Monster Trucks, Ratchet & Clank 2, Destruction Derby 2, all those games from, as well as the Mega Man one. But the sealed one was from the flea market where we got Ape Escape and Rally Trophy from. So from that shop I also bought Mille Miglia for 10 euros. It's in good condition, and I actually played that a while ago and even continued the game, but then I stopped because I couldn't be arsed to continue. The game was really it was just, you know, it's a game. It was nothing fascinating. And now I've lost the save because I had to get some free room for some other game, so I got rid of the save, but I wasn't that far into it, so I can just begin again whenever I feel like it. Then 2 other new purchases, Rage Racer 2 and Rally Masters. And along with Rally Masters, I have Rally Fusion, Rally Championship, and V-Rally 3 for PS2. So I'm gonna try all of those rally games in one long stream sometime. I don't know yet when, because I'm not really interested to try them out, but sometime. All of those 4 games. Well, excluding Rage Racer, as I said, from Rally games, Rally Masters, Rally Fusion, Rally Championship, Rally 3. So those I will go around in one stream. And there's actually a funny tale behind Rally Championship. I got it for only €2, and the condition isn't great. The case won't close, like the little plastic pieces are broken, so it can't be closed. And the disc was in meh condition, but only €2, and I was kind of curious to try out a mediocre, obscure rally game. And there's a funny tale, like I said. I got it for only €2, but it was on like an outdoor second-hand store, flea market, so they didn't have a machine that I could pay with my card with, so I had to go top up some money. But before I could, I noticed that there were some coins on the floor, rather the ground, and there were €2 worth. Like, there was a €1 coin and 2 50 cents, and I was like, hey, €2. Well, I'm just gonna pay with this then, so I got it for free, effectively. So yeah, that was kind of funny, and that's the biggest amount of money I've ever found from Ground, just €2, but you're pretty lucky if you find even more. Well, depending on what your currency is, you might have found even more in numbers, but €2, that's the biggest amount I've ever found. I think. I don't remember anything else. And yeah, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's been like 1.5 years. 1.5 years since I last made a Tuesday video. And to be precise, 22nd of March 2018, obviously. So it's been 1 year and I can't count right now, hold on. So like, yeah, 1 year and a few months, 5. So yeah, it's almost 1.5 years. And most of you people might know that I've been doing dealership percent runs on GT2. I dubbed those streams the Manufacturer Mondays, always doing the runs on Mondays. And I actually had a run where I did them consistently and regularly each Monday, but that was obviously too much asked. I was pushing myself. I bit more than I could take, so I eventually trailed off of that and ended the every single Monday streaming. And now I wouldn't be able to do it anyway because I'm studying, but back then, you know, I trailed off. I couldn't do it anymore. It was too much asked because the run is 8 hours long. Well, a little bit more than 8, because the RNG usually gets you to 8:20 or a little bit less, but over 8 hours. So every Monday, that was just too much. So I was pushing myself. But speaking of dealership percent, a month after I did my last Tuesday video, I got my best time so far, and only now recently, around 1 month ago, I finally beat the PB. And like I said, the run is full of RNG, so only now we could finally get that RNG that could beat our PB run, because we had such good luck in that run, and we finally had even better luck. And I even made mistakes on that run, and I still beat the old run by several minutes. And now the theoretical best is just sub 8 hours. So if we got the best luck possible and performed as well as we could get sub 8. But You gotta be dreaming if you want to get that kind of a time. You really need to have good luck as well as a good performance. So I had plenty of mistakes in that run, but time was still good, thanks to the extremely good and fortunate RNG. So we finally beat that PB. The main reason I've obviously been doing those manufacturer runs is because I always hoped to beat the run. But obviously that was not the main focus or main idea behind the manufacturer Mondays. I wanted to do those for fun. And that also the other purpose was to, build my endurance to be able to do longer streams. And since I still haven't worked a single day in my life, and I'm still yet to get my degree in profession, I thought I might as well work. Like kind of force yourself to do something that you don't like. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna be working on a job that I don't like, but like something that you wouldn't want to do if you wouldn't get paid, Like you go to work to get paid even if you don't really enjoy the job that much. But that was one of the purposes, and then obviously I just wanted to do it for fun, so I wasn't always going for a PV, and would have obviously been impossible because of the RNG. So if it was bad, then it was bad, but I always finished the run. So every Monday I got bad RNG. I was like, well, let's hope for a better run next Monday. But I ended up screwing up in many of the attempts. Oh, and one of the attempts actually was close to being a PB. Like, it was this close to being a PB. Like, on the last race on that run, we were about to get the PB, we were on PB pace, but the game trolled us. The game knew that we were getting a PB, so the game trolled us hardcore. Because we got 4 Rome nights in a row. Can you believe that, RNG? It's too bad that if you get 2 tracks in a row, 3 maybe, sometimes, if the luck is very bad, 4! Come on! That was this close to getting the PB! So yeah, that effectively denied the PB. And then we ended up, after those trollings, get Clubman Stage 5, which is really short, but all those recycled ate all that advantage we had, and we barely finished behind the PB. But hey, at least we beat the PB finally, so we don't have to worry about that for a while, so I'm taking a break from dealership percent for now. Maybe do it once in a while when I really feel like it, but not really whenever I can, so to say. Even if I don't feel like it, I will just, maybe I might as well do this. It's been a while, but yeah. Taking a break from that from now on. Since we now got the PB, so there's no reason to run anymore. And to be honest, the luck was so good that we won't beat it anytime soon. We need to get really lucky to beat that run. And yes, now that we're come here, this is obviously my new cat, and her name is Muru. It translates to like deer in English. And she's a very lovely and healthy and unique cat. As you can see, she's got those flop ears. So it's like she's got some Scottish fold on her, like the breed. But yeah, she's very lovely. And like I said, I do have another cat that used to live with me and Mom. Oh yeah, we still need to get to that too. Oh my gosh. There's so many things to talk about, but yeah. That's the cat that now lives with me. And I live on my own now. Last time when I did Tuesday, I was still living under my mom. And that was a little over a year ago. It's been a little over a year since I moved here. I moved here last June or something, July. So it's been just over a year. So I've already lived on my own for that long, and that obviously means that I have the perfect privacy well, almost, but you know, in my own apartment, so I can now stream whenever I want to and use the mic. Because when I was with my mom, I always had to look for the opportunity to use the mic, and I used to do early streams when she was at work, so she wouldn't hear. So yeah, now I'm really glad that I'm living on my own, and we're gonna get into that in a bit, but first we're gonna go around the cats. So at first both of the cats used to live here together, but then it quickly became obvious that these two wouldn't get along, so the other cat now lives with my mom because she kind of wants to be the only cat of the family, so if there's another one she's gonna stress out, so they couldn't getting to terms with each other. Just gonna jump on my lap. But yeah. So she's now the sole cat in this household, but I don't mind, honestly. And I can see the other cat whenever I want to. But yeah, living on my own. So it's been over a year, and I was meaning to do my next Tuesday as soon as I moved in, because it had already been overdue, because I used to do Tuesday videos every month. So it already had been overdue, but I also didn't want to do it just yet because I was about to move on my own and then do the video, but ultimately it didn't happen, especially as it's been so long. Well, back then it wasn't long since I did the last video, but now it's been so long that I finally had to do Tuesday just because it's been too long, and there's a lot to discuss, and I've already talked about games, and now moving here. And next we're gonna discuss my car. So obviously, as you know, I sold my MR2 a long time ago. Last winter. So it's almost been 2 years since I've been absent of the MR2. Or devoid of MR2, whatever. Since the MR2 has been absent. And the story was thus. Obviously, so MR2 is a very, very unique car. I got it for fairly cheap, but immediately upon buying it, I had to buy some new parts and fix the car. That already cost quite a lot. I mean, an ABS, what's it like? An ABS sensor? That already cost like 200 euros. And then some more. So, you know, the maintenance was costly, and then the car wasn't the most reliable. So it constantly needed attention. So those two reasons were the main reasons why I finally had to get rid of the car, because it just wasn't a good everyday car. Too costly, too unreliable. But if it was just about the car itself, I would have never gotten rid of it. I wanted to cling on to it real hard. Even though mom kept telling me, you need to change your car, this is not a good car, I kept clinging onto my car. No, mom, I don't want to leave this lovely, precious car of mine. But eventually I did have to. And it was also mom's suggestion that I'm driving today, the Seat Leon. Though I don't know if mom had been talking with her fiancé. That's, you know, a relative, so he's good with cars, he's got experience, so maybe he was ultimately the one to choose the car, but could have been mom, but she couldn't have picked a better car. It's very reliable, there have been no issues whatsoever, and even if there have been, they've been very, very subtle and very, you know, not important, no significant issues, so it's a really good everyday car, but I do miss my MR2. So obviously, this guy got it, I had to get rid of it, and I sold it for a little less than I bought it with. I paid 3.5k for it, euros obviously, but I sold it for like 3.1, so a bit of a deficit, but oh well. At least I got the car sold. That's the main thing, and I still got a decent amount of money for it. And yeah, that ended my relationship with my first ever completely self-owned car, because I actually had one more car before the MR2, but I co-owned it with my mom. I paid half for it and she paid half. It was a Renault Megane. Just, your average car. But my first ever owned car was the MR2, and I still do miss it a lot, but I don't miss the reliability issues or anything at all. I've been very happy with the seat, but the MR2 was something special. But obviously, even though it's lost, I can still happily say that it was my first car. Nothing can take that away from me. And yeah, this shirt. I decided to get this because there was a sale going on with Ayrton Senna themed t-shirts, polo shirts, sweaters and whatnot. And I really wanted to get this because it's a very cool shirt, and as you know, my favorite colors are white and blue, not only because of my nation, Finland, but also because white is a pure color and blue is a very cool color, and it's the very, very common and typical color of the boys. But in my opinion, these two are a cool color and they look really good on cars and motorsports. So, and I'm paying tribute to Ayrton Senna with this, because this was obviously the last team he raced in for a very brief while until his eventual unfortunate, very unlucky death. So yeah. But I really like this shirt. I think I'm gonna use it for sim racing from now on. It's also a nice texture, like it's sort of like exercise t-shirt, if you know what I mean. Like it's got this weird texture. So, might be good for sweating out in. What else? I'm looking at the notepad file and we've almost gone through everything here. So next thing we're gonna talk about is badminton. So obviously, I don't exercise a lot. I used to bike a lot back in the day when I didn't have my Moped card, but as soon as I got that, I kind of slacked out on exercising and PE. So now that I finally found something I love, badminton, I've now played it regularly, but now I can't play it as well as I've been so far, because I'm studying in the other city, the neighbor city, and I have to think of new opportunities to play badminton there. But fortunately, they did build a new PE, what do you call it, hall, a center, so we can always play there whenever we want to. And since I developed a passion for the badminton, sorry Moru, you will have to get off my lap now. So yeah, my passion for badminton is thus that I even ended up buying my own racket. And I bought this new too, and it was 60 euros, so that just goes to show how much I've gotten into badminton. I really like the form of sport, because it's not an exhausting sport, not at all, but of course, if you're doing an exercise, if you're doing some sports to get that exercise done, obviously it has to be demanding, but it's not as demanding as a floorball or hockey or or football. That's a doozy, but this is the perfect kind of exercise for me, because you still do stay in one spot for the entire match pretty much. Obviously you do have to move a little bit, run to the other side maybe, but in general you stay in place for most of the match. You don't move as much as you do in football or anything, or like running around constantly, so it's the perfect form of exercise for me. So that is definitely something I'm gonna hold on to, so I can get some kind of exercise, even if I don't do walks or go cycling or visit the gym. So at least I have some sort of exercise. So I just wanted to point that out, that badminton is a new passion of mine. It's a really cool sport. And yeah, we've already talked about me moving to my own apartment. So obviously that happened last July or June, whichever. or rather I got the apartment during June, but I was studying that time, so I only got to my apartment in July, but nevertheless, summer last year. So ultimately I haven't lived too long here, just a year, but it's been that long since the last Tume videos, obviously. The last one was still when I lived with my mom. And it's been great. I definitely love this privacy, because now I can talk whenever I want to, do these kind of videos, stream, use the mic. I absolutely love this kind of a privacy, and I can swear, I can yell, but not as much as I'd like to, because I've gotten a few noise complaints. Especially just after I had moved in, I kept yelling and screaming and, using high volume during the night, but that's obviously not how you should live when you have neighbors just behind the walls. So I had gotten complaints, and my neighbors had been sleeping with earplugs, to which I was completely unaware of. And then someone rang my doorbell. I was like, who might that be? And it was, a person working with this entire, like, I don't know what it's called, but like this bunch of apartments, this whole thing here. And she said that I need to shut up and be more quiet at nights. You can't ignore all the others and stuff. And I was like, okay, I understand. So that got me a little bit scared, because obviously if I get too many complaints and I don't live by the rules, then I get kicked out. But so far that hasn't happened. And then I got yet another complaint later on, and it was kind of a weird one. He said that you should walk more quietly during the night. I can hear your footsteps. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And then when I closed the door, I was like, what? He can hear my fucking steps? Of course, the deafening can be that bad, the noise cancelling, but shit. My fucking steps. But I also think he could have as well mistaken my steps for my cat, like kicking the sand on the litter box. But yeah, that was one complaint. It's been a while since that one, like a few months, and then just recently, like a month ago, I got another complaint, and that was with me, yelling and screaming and raising my volume at night. But I'm gonna take it easier now, and especially when I'm studying now during the weeks. I'm not at home, so I wouldn't be able to cause noise anyway. But during the weekends when I'm home, like right now, after I'm done with this video, I'm done editing it, I'm gonna leave for the week again to study. But it's not exactly studying, and it's the funny way of explaining and defining and explaining that. Well, what do I do? It's like studying to study. It's getting you ready to finally study for an actual profession, instead of just getting you prepared for that, because it's been a while since I last actually studied. Last time I did study was 2014, but that's when I fell into depression, and I'm fine, by the way, now. I'm over it. But back then I fell into depression, and then I dropped out of school. They didn't drop me, they actually kept my spot, but I dropped out on my own because I was studying to be an animator, and while I got some interest towards animating and I would want to do my own animations, it's really not something I would enjoy doing as a work, so it was kind of forced, Like, I've been real troubled thinking that what might my profession be. I'm not really interested in anything. And now currently, when we're figuring that out, along with getting me prepared to have the strength to and willpower to study, because I do need to get my degree so I can have a job and earn a living. So my current interest is welding, and actually starting tomorrow for just a week, but still I get to practice stuff to do with metal craftsmanship and stuff. So I hope I get to do a lot of welding there, so I get a better picture on how it's actually like. I've only welded once in my life, and that was in high school, elementary school, where we had these craftsmanship classes now and then, and we got to do some welding once. And I really like it because it's a unique way of crafting stuff. Like, how often do you see people welding like in the public in a construction site or stuff? You really don't. It's a very hidden kind of profession and work. So that really interests me. And as you may know, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I really like to keep my stuff in order. I'm really accurate, precise. That's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when we talk about welding. That's a perfect kind of work for me because I'm a perfectionist. I want to do everything as well as I can. So that's what you really need in welding. You have to be accurate. You have to weld the pieces together as well as you possibly can, and as cleanly as you can, so you don't have like those ugly marks in the points connecting two pieces. So I really do hope that I get a degree in welding, and finally I can have a profession and a job and a living, and then I can get to the actual life, which is obviously working. And obviously I still do have my motorsport dreams, but we won't get there until we have more experience in sim racing. Obviously I stopped sim racing 2 years ago, a little over, because I thought that it's not for me. I don't have the mentality right now, and nor the skills. I mean, I'm good with racing games, but I'm not good with understanding cars, their setups, how they work, how to build setups. I'm just at a loss with those things. Obviously, I do know basic things like with formula cars, like wing angles. Obviously, the less turns you have, and the less turns and the more straights you have, the less the wing angle, and vice versa. But I don't know a whole lot otherwise. So that's one weak point when being in professional, international, world-class sim racing. You really do need to understand the setups. Even if you're a good driver, you still need to build your setups yourself if you want to get the best benefit. Like, obviously you can ask for setups, but that's pretty weak, because you should be able to do those on your own, and getting setups from others are not exactly tailored to your liking, or in the fortunate case, sometimes especially it had been, where the setups actually suit my driving style and I was comfortable using the setup, but you still need to tailor them to your own, so you get to push your driving ability to the maximum, the highest potential, when you're comfortable with the car as well as how it handles. So even if I do have the skills, I mean, there have been events where setups don't matter, that everyone has the same setups. There I have been pretty good, but still not top notch. Well, I am top notch, but it's not like a guarantee that I'll always win. So not only the setups, but also the way that I'm still kind of unprepared. I used to do a lot of qualifying trim practice, but that's obviously not the way in racing. You need to practice your pace, your racecraft, your consistency. That's the only way to succeed in races, not by grinding qualifying. So that's what I did. So that's another weakness. I haven't been practicing a lot. And that's another reason why I dropped out, because I kept having bad races, DNFs, a lot of unlucky situations. So all that work that went into that weekend, that day of racing, was just washed out. Like, you had practiced so hard, but then you get taken out, or you do a mistake of your own. It does worry you a lot, because only to prepare for the next weekend expecting it to be another disappointment. That's kind of the mentality I had. I was getting so fed up. I kept doing mistakes and having bad races, so it was really hard preparing for the next race. So that's another reason why I dropped out. It's just so much stress, so much preparation. I can't do a lot of my own stuff, or like streaming now, unless it's race practice streaming. But you know, you know, you get the idea. I wouldn't have a lot of free time because I would prepare for races for most of the time. So that's another reason. But yeah. Obviously I still do sim racing, but the term's a little misleading because yeah, I don't actually race. I just do hot lapping for fun, play dirt rally and stuff, but you know, it's the only way I can practice for real life racing, the motorsports career I so dream of, is by doing the thing closest to it because I can't have real life experience yet. So I was just speaking about making a living, you know, getting money. That's another thing you need in motorsports. I'm far from rich, even if I get like financial aid right now because I don't have a living. So I do need to work my ass off to get that money. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna practice my driving skills, perfect them, get better, get more consistent, and then hopefully I might get like a test session with a team, like they would allow me to use one of their cars, and then I can show in real life on the track what I'm capable of, and what I can do. But that's a far stretch for now. So, what do we have on the notepad next? So yeah, I've talked about everything pretty much now, except for there was a brief period where I had to do internship as part of my couching, I guess you could say, coaching, getting to studies. So I worked in a cat caretake center, I guess you could say, and that's where I got this beauty from. My lovely cat. So yeah, I just saw something in her. She was so gentle, so quiet, so like, yeah, lovable. So how could I resist that, especially with those flop ears? So yeah, and you know, fortunately I was in internship there because then I could see the cat as soon as it arrived on the center, so I could immediately reserve it before anyone else could snatch her. But yeah, really fortunate I could find her. She's very unique and we do bond well. She's very fond of me and very attached, so we've got along just great. And yeah, now we only have a few more things to talk about. So obviously dealership percent we already discussed. Then between this and the previous Tuesday, I've only submitted these speedruns. So Arcade Percent on Virally 2, that was a pretty decent run. I only made a few mistakes, so that run will be hard to beat, so I might beat that someday, but for the moment I'm not interested. And then GD2 all gold speedruns. You know, golding all licenses as fast as you can, and I actually got almost sub 50, so we're getting close to the best possible run, which is like 36 minutes. That's how long it takes to beat all the licenses and gold them. So getting sub 50 is pretty good. That's only like, well, obviously it depends on the test, but only a few, only like a dozen retries. So I hope one day we'll get to the point where I can gold everything on first tries, but that's obviously just a dream for the moment, but we're getting closer to it, as I said, nearly sub 50. So we are getting better. And then we have done DD speedruns, Destruction Derby 1 mostly, and then I did a decent run finally on DD 2. I kept having bad RNG and bad luck, but then I finally got a good run and I submitted it. And those are the only speedruns that I've submitted to speedrun.com and obviously uploaded to YouTube since the last Tuesday video, so not a whole lot. And I finally beat the dealership percent record, like I said earlier. Finally. And as for speedruns in the future, I'm planning to do... I actually tried yesterday to do another run on Mission Percent in Gran Turismo 4, but that was a failure of stream. I had practiced beforehand, like when I leave to the other city to study, I spent my week practicing the missions, but that stream was a failure. I couldn't even get past the licenses once again, and that's how it has been for a little while. Also, excuse me for a moment. Okay, so I was just talking about okay, so I was just talking about GT4 mission percent. So that's one run I want to begin grinding on because I even haven't got a single run yet uploaded because the one I finished one time was terrible. So now I can do better. Well, I can always do better, but like I need a decent run before I want to upload it. So for now, the main aim is to do mission percent and to get a run where I pass everything on first. You know, licenses, they should be just auto-scrolling pretty much, but the reason I keep failing the licenses is because I try to optimize every test, try to be pretty fast in them, so obviously I do mistakes, I run off the road and fail the test, so yeah. So that's what I want to begin grinding on now, as far as speedrunning plans go. And then there's GT2 rally percent. I actually managed to equal, like tie my PB/world record, and that was insane. Like exactly the same time. Not by, tens, hundreds, thousands, but by seconds. By seconds accuracy, I got the exact same time, so that goes to show that I can do better. I thought the run was good, but if I can tie my existing PB, then that means I can definitely do better, like a few seconds. So that's another thing I need to invest time on. What else for speedrunning? And then obviously if I come up with new games to speedrun, for example the fucking monster trucks and that kind of stuff. And I might come back to CDR speedrunning, but honestly the game is so hard to speedrun that I'll only do it when I really don't have anything better to do and I really wish to improve my time. My current PB is around 59 or even 58 minutes. But my current submitted time is like 1 hour, 2 minutes. But that was like the first proper run I did. And I haven't bothered updating it because I know I can do better. So only when I get a significant improvement, like 57 or 56 minutes, I'll upload a new one. But we'll see if I will ever do CDR again. And while we are on topic of on CDR, I'm loving the Nitro Field remaster that they did. It's so good, but it's not as good as I would play it daily. But it's a very good remaster. Like the physics are almost the exact same. The graphics are gorgeous, and yeah. One of the biggest things I was looking forward to, obviously, was the online. That's the main reason I was excited about it, because single player doesn't change, and single player doesn't have a challenge, but I could have never been more wrong. The Nitro Field version of the story mode, you can pick the hardest difficulty and it's hard as nails. So, and I still haven't finished single player just because I haven't been arsed to, or time trials to unlock Entropy. So yeah, the main reason I was excited was because of online, so I could have a proper challenge against skilled players, and like half the time, or just over half the time, players have been good most of the time, so I'm very pleased. But there is one room for improvement in CDR, and that's the lack of settings you have for online. Like when you do public host, you can only it's automated. You just host. You can do no settings whatsoever. You just host, and then players vote for the track, and then it's 3 laps. And you can use any item you can get from the box. So I was hoping that they would have implemented some kind of freedom and flexibility to online matchmaking. Like they could add that you can trim the amount of items and weapons and stuff you can get from the boxes, just like in the battle mode. Also, it's raining outside, but yeah, that would really be good, because the races are often a meme, because players get the clocks and plasma balls and like guided missiles, homing missiles so often that it becomes like frustrating. You do well yourself, you're a good driver, good player of the game, but then you get absolutely stomped on by the warp or plasma orb, as I like to call it, plasma ball, and the clock. Like, dear God. And the already, obviously it can be a little frequent, like they keep getting those clocks and plasma orbs from the boxes, but it could also be that, since the AI in single player, at least in the original, never used plasma orbs or clocks, it seemed like they were always safe for the most part. But in online, there are kind of, spam the clocks and plasma orbs, so it's really frustrating. So that's, if they can finally implement more flexibility in terms of setting up a game, that would be great. Because not only could you, choose from 3, 5, 7 laps, but you could also choose whichever track you like, and then you could also, get rid of those annoying weapons, or just disable weapons altogether and only have like Aquaku masks or whichever mask, turbo, or a shield. You can still shoot it against your opponents, but it's pretty hard to hit with unless you're very close, just like with the bowling bomb. Only the homing missile is almost a guarantee if you're close enough that it doesn't hit a wall. But yeah, dear God, if only they added some more options for matchmaking and hosting a game, that would be great, because that's what I was hoping from ever since the launch, but we still don't have it, so I do hope they add it as an update. I was hoping to do a custom host without using weapons and hosting only good tracks, because half the time people choose a boring track like Coco Park, Crash Cove. Well, that doesn't, or Cove, whatever. That doesn't appear very often, but Coco Park, tracks like that, very boring. And since we have the Nitro Kart tracks, which honestly I like half of them, even though I've never played Nitro Kart. I really like the tracks, but wish you could also trim to only CDR tracks, because that's which I obviously remember the best. But no, they're mixed. Like when you do the hosting as it is now, well, if you do a private host, you can actually set up the laps and choose the track, but you still can't trim the item range. But yeah, it's pretty annoying if you want to do a CDR track and it's flooded with Nitro Kart tracks. As it is now, the hosting, you can only vote for a track, and you can only hope that they choose like Oxide Station, Engine Laps, whichever track that I like, but they usually choose a boring track. And one track I've never ever raced on in online is Dragon Mines. I've still had Crash Cove, Ruse Tubes, Blizzard Bluff, and Coco Park obviously, but I've never raced on Dragon Mines, I don't think, in online, because people never choose that even if it's available. So there are still some tracks that I've never raced on in online, and I think that's like the only one of them. Every single one I've raced on otherwise, well, I don't think like Turbo Drag, but Slide Coliseum a few times. And from the Nitro Kart tracks, every single one of them at least once. But Dragon Mines, never. So weird. So I'm hoping that comes in as an update, so I can customize the games a little bit more. Then I would play that a lot more often, seriously. It's a little pissing me off that, you can't do anything, you can only vote for the track, and there you go. And then we are gonna discuss GTA 5. That's actually the last thing on this notepad, so I can close it now. And I'm gonna talk about other things as well, like the GameCube there. GameCube box. I got the GameCube like a year ago, so I'm gonna talk about that in a moment. But first we have to talk about GTA 5. Oh, the Diamond Casino and Resort update. I'm loving it. Well, I mean, I'll admit as much as I've had terribly bad luck at the casino, both with the lucky wheel and the games. Like, I was 400k in profit, but then I lost all of it because I got too greedy and wanted to do high bets, and then I lost everything. So I'm still like, well, I don't even want to talk. I won't even want to think about it, how much I'm in debt or like deficit right now, but several 100k, if not a million. So bad luck with the casino as well as the lucky wheel. I did win the Turismo Classic, but right after the Thrax left the podium as the podium vehicle, because that was the that came with the DLC as a winnable car. And on my very first spin, I was one step away. Like, here's the car, here's what I actually got. Or, yeah, here's the car, here's what I actually got. I was one step away from getting it during the first time, and then I never got it. And when I finally win the car, that's when the Thrax had already left the podium, and then I get the Turismo Classic, which I also own. So, here. So, yeah. Lovely. Well, even though I got it for free, I got some free money, at least a little bit. So obviously sold my old and then just tuned the new one. But I even asked Rockstar if I could trade it for a little bit of money or some other car that I don't own, but they said no. And that's fair, It's just a lucky wheel. What you see is what you get. You can't trade it or anything. Well, chips you can trade for money, but even then it's only little. But yeah, another current podium vehicle is Schlagen, which reminds me, I actually have to log back into Steam and launch the game and turn the wheel before I leave and see what I get. But even if I get the Schlagen, I also already own that, so I won't benefit out of it that much. Only so much that I can sell the car, get the money from it, and then tune the one I win. Eventually. Yeah, I wanted to talk about other things as well. Of course, the casino, I'm very unlucky with it, but I'm very impressed by the cars so far. Well, there are a lot of OP cars, like the Thrax, for example. It's a very fast supercar. Then we have the S80RR, which is much faster than the RE7B. Handles the same, looks around the same, like an old Le Mans racing car. It's quite fast on the straights. Not the fastest of all supers, but it's one of the fastest. Not too slow on the straights. But its best asset, just like the RE7B, is the grip. Like, holy shit, you can do cornering with that like no one's business. So I had to get that car. And I was actually thinking of getting the RE7B, but now that the S80RR came out, I was like, screw RE7B, I'm getting this. So that's what I got. Then the first car I got, the cheapest one at the time, was the Easy Sport. And then I got one of the latest ones, actually, the Emirates, which is the McLaren Senna pretty much, but I was disappointed on the customization options. Very few, and well, the car itself is good, but yeah, the customizations disappointed me a little bit. Could have had more options. And then I got the Visser Neo, and that one, holy shit, it's a very fast sports car. It's pretty much another supercar that's misplaced in sports, just like a Paria, Italy GTO. Those don't really belong in sports. They should be put in supers. And meanwhile, from supers, Sultan RS should be brought to sports. But yeah, I'm impressed by the cars that are still coming. Like, just a few days ago, they released the Nebula Turbo, which is a very old 80s Volvo, and I really love it. Even though it's a really slow car, one of the slowest in its class, and it's even slower than the Michelin GT, which is already slow, and that's the Alfa Romeo. What was the name? Hold on. Veloz GT, the Alfa Romeo, the old one. That's a really cool car, but it's very slow. Just like the Volvo. It's a really cool looking car. Sounds cool too, I guess, but it's slow. But I still wanted to get it, just like in Michelin. Very cool car. Well, you can actually see here. I put this livery onto it and those dirt tires and everything. It looks just like a pure rally car, and it actually this livery resembles this real livery. So yeah, it really looks cool, and it does like scream Volvo, at least to me. So, and from the still upcoming cars, there's at least one I want to get, and that's the Xeon Classic, which is an old BMW, just like the old Volvo. It's not gonna be like Sentinel Classic, but something similar, you know, an 80s sporty BMW. So that's the next car I'm waiting for, and then we will see if there's any other interesting cars. But so far, I've gotten everything I need. So, Easy Sports, S80RR, Emirates, Neo, and now the Nebula. Those are like the 5 cars I've gotten now from the new cars. And I kind of want the Paragon still, but I don't know. So that's about it for GTA, except that, yeah, my dream garage or collection of garages is now complete. But obviously I still need to get some cars now that they're releasing more and more constantly with the update. But after Xeon Classic we will see if there's anything important. But if there's not, then I will finally make a video on my garage, my entire car collection. Discuss all of the cars, like what I think about them, how they feel like driving, how competitive they are, and you know, all that stuff. So that's all about. So that's it. That's all of it for GTA. And now we'll talk about some other stuff that I didn't put into the notepad, but I was still gonna talk about anyway. So obviously, the GameCube. I've had it for a year now, but I haven't used it a whole lot. I've only booted it a few times. But I'm gonna collect a few GameCube games. So currently I have Super Mario Sunshine, Star Fox Adventures, Pikmin 2. Those are like the main titles that I have right now. And then I will also plan to get like, you know, GameCube exclusives like Luigi's Mansion, Mario Party, and another one from the Mario games. Well, it's not actually. It's more of a Nintendo crossover game. Obviously, Melee, and then the first Pikmin, and then maybe one Zelda game. So obviously, I still want to have some exclusive games, so I actually have some use for the GameCube. And another use I have is getting Wrath of Cortex for it. I already have it for PS2, but the loading times are horrendous. So I'm hoping that the GameCube is much faster, and it should be, because it's the most powerful out of those generation consoles. Actually, just falling behind the Xbox, but pretty powerful, at least for its size. Like, it's just a cube. Meanwhile, behind me there is the PS2. So yeah, I won't say that I'm gonna collect a lot of GameCube games, especially as they're really expensive, and I don't find much use for them because I was never, you know, I've never played on GameCube, and now that I finally have it, I don't even use it a whole lot, but I still wanted to get it because there's a few games, exclusive games, that I might want to play. And the GameCube is pretty cool, I want to say. A couple more things. This is also another find from flea markets. It wasn't a flea market that was like really boring. Straighten it up, please. This is really hard. So yeah, the Ferrari from '98, really cool. And this game, it came in its original box too, and I got it for only like 10 euros, and I couldn't resist. And like I said, I got it from a really boring flea market. It was only like full of clothes, porcelain, board games, stuff like that, like really ordinary clothes and stuff. But that one I had to pick up. It was a really fortunate find from a flea market that I didn't expect like had much in it, but that one we had. Oh yeah, and then the shirts. I want to talk about them a little bit. So obviously, what I'm wearing now is a tribute shirt for Ayrton Senna's Williams overalls. I really wanted to get this because it was on sale, so I saved money, and at the same time it's a cool shirt, so win-win. And then, back when I was in rehab, now I'm not so much in rehab, now I'm getting even closer to the work life, but when I was there, I painted this shirt, so that's my motto. Well, it's only half the motto. The complete motto is: racing is like living. We face bad times, but we just have to keep on pushing. So I made kind of a unique shirt for myself. I used this a few times during the streams. And then another cool shirt. I found this from a private seller. I got it for pretty cheap. It's a mint PlayStation shirt. Obviously it reads in Japanese PlayStation. So another really cool shirt that I will wear often. And yeah, it's like barely used, so I got it for almost free. Almost new. And one more shirt. So obviously, well, one thing I haven't talked about actually yet. This shirt that just reminded me. So, early this year, and it reminds me of another thing. Nice! We're not gonna run out of subjects anytime soon, but I do hope we will, because I need to leave soon. So, first off, the shirt features the main cast of Kingdom Hearts 2. Has the Kingdom Hearts 2 logo too. So my sister got this for my Xmas present last Christmas. So a really thoughtful gift, because early this year, by the end of January, Kingdom Hearts 3 released. And funny story about that, by the way. Originally, I bought the PS4 for only... My mom's calling me, hold on. So yeah, sorry about that. My mom was calling me, where are you? You need to go soon. I know, but I need to finish this video and I finally need to do it. I had to open Brett's package. I finally need to unleash and, vent all of this info because it's been so long. I finally want to do this video so I can finally get rid of it and not worry about it anymore. Like, oh god, I need to do this soon. It's stressing me. So we are doing it now and we're doing it for good. So a funny story about KH3. I originally got the PlayStation 4 exclusively just to play KH3 because I'm very fond of this series. I really wanted to get the third installment, especially as it ends the saga that started, well, even before the Kingdom Hearts 1 game, the first Kingdom Hearts game chronologically, but ever since the first game, we now finally got an end to that saga. So I only got PlayStation 4 for exclusively Kingdom Hearts 3, and yeah, that's not the only funny story about it, because, exclusively, but I already have a whole bunch of other games for it, like the Ratchet and Clank remake, Crash and Spyro Trilogy collections remastered, and now Crash Team Racing. But another story was that I said once that I'm probably gonna live in, but I'm gonna be living on my own by the time KH3 comes out, so that was pretty accurate, because I've been living on my own for over a year now, and it came out just last January, so it took its sweet time appearing, Kingdom Hearts 3, but it finally came out. And by the way, it was a little bit disappointing. It's an amazing game, make no mistake, but I was hoping for a little bit more, and the difficulty was also very disappointing. But I started gameplay with the hardest difficulty, and it's a lot harder, I can tell. But standard mode should have been a little bit more difficult. And then there's the whole, where are the Final Fantasy characters? Like, seriously, they have been in previous games. Why do they suddenly disappear? Well, I mean, what do you mean there's no Final Fantasy character? The fucking Muggles are in every game. And then we have Squall and the others in these pictures. What do you mean there's no Final Fantasy characters? Yeah, sure, but not playing a role, I mean, Muggles kind of are, but not a story role. And other than Muggles, there are no other Final Fantasy characters. So, yeah. That was one weird thing and a big complaint of mine. And then I was also hoping for Treasure Planet, but I guess since Pirates of the Caribbean is in the game, that was not to be. But yeah. And the worlds were pretty cool, but I was also hoping that you could explore the streets more in the Toy Story world, but no. Just going to the end of the streets or just walking a little bit along the street, you get instantly to the toy store. But yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3 could have been better, but now they're actually releasing a DLC later this year, and I'm really excited to play this, because Kingdom Hearts 3 was so short too, and so rushed. Or, I don't know, it had so much potential, but they didn't use all of it, so I'm hoping that the DLC can patch some of that. Twilight Town was really small, it should have been more explorable, bigger in area, but it was really small, like one area pretty much. But yeah, I'm hoping that the DLC can do something. And now, before we end this video, I need to think thoroughly if we have anything else to talk about, because I've been talking for 1.5 hours already, and I knew the video was gonna be long because I have so many things to talk about, because yeah, it's been so long since the last one, so a lot has happened. I've moved on my own, getting a job almost, speedrun news, new games, whatever, car change, everything. Though I already had the car changed in the last Tuesday, but yeah. Oh yeah, and the one thing, this year for me started in hairy conditions. So just before the end of the year 2018, I actually contracted pneumonia, which is like lung fever pretty much. It's a very severe illness. You get very weak and, very weak and very fragile. So I had to eventually be taken to a hospital, and obviously, as you can see, I was being treated. You know, that medicine straight into the vein. And yeah, when I was at home, I was really weak. I was only able to lay in my bed, and whenever I got up, I just, fell on my knees, breathing hard and stuff. But why wouldn't I? It's a fucking lung fever. But thankfully, I pulled through easily, and I got out of the hospital. And after spending 2 nights at the hospital. So yeah. And I rarely get sick. So getting that kind of an illness is, it came out of nowhere. I have no idea where I got that from. A fucking pneumonia. First time in my life too. And it's been a long time since I've last laid in hospital. Last time was, and the only time, was when I broke my arm. But this was the second time, and this has also been, along with the hospital visits, only the second time when I've been in whatever the treatment is called, IV or something, pouring that medicine straight into the vein, more effective. So that was really uncomfortable. I mean, it didn't hurt having that, but when the thing was put on your hand, it hurt like hell when he, or she in this case, pierced through the vein and put it in. But she did it very professionally, didn't even leave a mark. So yeah, and now I'm really glad to be healthy again. Only took 2 nights to heal, and there you go. But a really surprising way to start the year with such a aggressive illness. But yeah, we're good now. Hopefully I won't get ill anytime soon again, and I probably won't, because I get sick like only once a year, to be honest. Like, I have a very good immunity. I hardly get sick, and whenever I do, I'm sure to remember that, especially this one with such an aggressive illness. So yeah, I got out of the hospital just before the end of the year, or was it already next year? I don't know. Probably it was like 31st when I got out. But either way, at the end of the year, at the start of the year, it doesn't matter, in between, during Christmas, New Year. And now, is there anything else? I was gonna test the fudges, but I'm kind of in a tight schedule, so I need to end immediately. And yeah, I guess there's really nothing else to talk about, but if you're wondering about something, if you just want to leave feedback, or if you have any further questions, feel free to drop them down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope you guys like this video, because the previous Tuesday videos have been pretty like who cares? They all got like only a few 10 views. Not even one video has 100 views, but I'm gonna be wild and guess that this is gonna get a lot of views, because this is the first Tuesday video in well over a year, and a lot has changed then. Not only my real life, but my streaming schedule, streaming viewer base has also grown. So I'm expecting this video to have a lot of views and a few comments. So I hope you like this video, especially as I did some editing into it. So, and also I won't be doing Tuesday monthly anymore, because obviously not a lot will happen during just 1 month. So I'm just gonna make this like yearly, if even that, depending on how much stuff happens. But yeah, it's gonna be more irregular now and more rare. But yeah, we're finally done with that now. Jeez, it took me only 1.5 hours to talk through all of this, but I'm glad I finally did. Now I don't have to stress about this or Brett's package. I could have opened it and then done Tuesday video, but I wanted to do them all in one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I really need to edit this video real quickly, so yeah. I'll see you again soon. I don't know what to say. Muru, say something. Bye bye. Bye bye. Peace.